All right, well, we'll get started and others can join as we're moving along here, but welcome to the webinar put on by Phoenix. And this webinar is the DryLINK Asset Manager webinar. That's the focus of this. A little bit about me. I'm Erin Hynum. I've been with Phoenix, Thermostore for 13 years, mostly with Phoenix. Currently the Senior Director of Product Management. I love technology and innovation, and that is what has led me to DryLINK, and specifically here, DryLINK Asset Manager. Okay, so I want to go over the agenda. So we want to quickly tell you what the DryLINK ecosystem, give you an overview so you understand what it is. Then an overview of Asset Manager. Then I want to talk about what is DryLINK Asset Manager, how they're related, the original DryLINK system and Asset Manager, and then how we are different in our DryLINK Asset Manager solution from what you might see in the market, problems we're solving with this product. I'll show you the pricing. Then I want to talk about upcoming innovation. We've got a thing called Manage All Jobs by Exception and multi-location companies coming to DryLINK. And then I'll give you a live demo of DryLINK Asset Manager. Have a customer that's given us permission, obviously, to do that, and we'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so what is the DryLINK ecosystem? So it's a Bluetooth-based job site data collection tool with optional remote monitoring. We offer a drying report that you can use to get paid for the job. We have an app and a web portal that work together. And we have this complete hands-free asset tracking system that we're talking about today. And I wanted to give you an overview. We are changing up the way DryLINK is working. We're going to have some different levels here. We'll have DryLINK Basic, which is free. This gives you access to the equipment. You can use the Bluetooth functionality while on site. Then we have another level, DryLINK Jobs, which is going to be a subscription model instead of what we have today, which is $4.99 per job. And that'll start at $49 a month. That'll give you all access to everything DryLINK, except for the Asset Manager. Now, if you go with Asset Manager, you get everything included. So you get DryLINK Jobs, everything you did with the Basic and the Asset Manager system. And then lastly, there's an add-on for E3. If anybody's familiar with the Chuck DeWald Academy of Drying, Chuck DeWald has a proprietary set of algorithms to help you do your job, and you can add that on in DryLINK. It also comes with a subscription to the E3 app from the Chuck DeWald School of Drying. Okay, this will be, again, a quick overview. We came out with DryMax XL, the first data logging Bluetooth-based dehumidifier, transmits data to an app. This is the app that would be on your phone of your employees. And we had a basic drying report. And we kept expanding our system as people were making use of this. So we have an item called a dry tag. This is a Bluetooth beacon that has an accelerometer inside, which makes it different from other tracking beacons because it gives you on-off functionality where it knows if the equipment is on or off. And we'll talk about that. We built this beacon right into the AirMax. This gives you the added functionality of once you pull the battery tab, it knows it's an AirMax made by Phoenix. It knows its serial number. You'll notice that on all our equipment, these tags, you can put them on any brand of equipment. You do not have to buy Phoenix to use this system. Here we're showing the dry tag on a competitive piece of equipment. The dry phone, this is for remote monitoring and job site alerts. When this technician, this is the phone in the middle or the screen in the middle is representing your technician's phone. When that is, when the technician leaves, if you want remote monitoring, you would put the dry phone and leave it on site to keep streaming data. Here you'll see the DryMax BLE, the Dry Tag RH, which has all the functionality of the dry tag, but it adds temperature and relative humidity to the equation. You can use this for asset tracking as well. So if you want to do both DryLINK and asset tracking, DryLINK Jobs and DryLINK Asset Manager, you would put this on your non-smart dehumidifiers. You can also, you see that up here, you can also use it to automate your affected area, unaffected area, and HVAC readings. And then we have this for moisture content. This is the DrySense moisture content sensor. This is data logging and Bluetooth enabled. So that's just what the DryLINK ecosystem looks like today. Then I wanted to talk about how they are related. The DryTag RH, and the DryPhone are used in both DryLINK Asset Manager and DryLINK Jobs. The DryPhone is optional in both. The DryTag has that accelerometer so that it can tell you if equipment is on or off when it's on the job. It can do the same thing with asset tracking. What it does with asset tracking, if you're doing remote monitoring and somebody removed a piece of equipment, we could tell you within 15 minutes of when that equipment was actually removed. Same thing with the DryTag RH, but it's adding temperature and RH for the jobs part of it, but it also has the accelerometer and the asset tracking functionality. The DryPhone is used in either DryLINK Jobs or Asset Manager to do remote monitoring of those jobs. Okay, now DryLINK Asset Manager, what is it? Tracks inventory with no human interaction, knows where the equipment is by location, whether it's in the warehouse, on a job, in a truck. We have, and I'm going to show you this stuff live so you can see what it looks like. We have a map view showing the trucks in the warehouse and the jobs, a table view. We break that down by Xactimate category. Then we have a list view where you get each serial number of equipment in a list. You can export this all to Excel. We have a way to do labels, and I'm going to talk about that in more detail. This is a unique feature that we have that allows you to better keep track of equipment. We have a kit for semi-trailers. So we've tested, and we can read all equipment in a semi that's packed full. So, you know, 53-foot semi with this kit, you can read all the equipment in there all at once, no problem. We also have a way to keep track of lost and stolen equipment, and I'll talk about that as well. Now, this is showing you the DryLINK Asset Manager system. And what you can see here is that, you know, you have your main warehouse and you have your vehicles. And then here's, you know, we're just showing a semi-trailer. And here's an offsite storage with no power. So these are all kind of unique situations, but we can handle all of these. So we'll have a gateway in each one of these locations that reads Bluetooth devices. It also has cellular, and the gateways in the vehicles have GPS. So we're going to keep track of where your vehicles are. When one piece of equipment moves to another, we're going to know about it. We're going to create a geofence around your jobs, which is going to allow us, we actually have some automation that I'll get into that allow us to automatically add stuff to the job if you enable the automation. Okay. This is showing the items that are used in the DryLINK Asset Manager program. We have the DryTag and the DryTag RH, which are transmitting data all the time by Bluetooth. So they're sending out data packets all the time. And then on the other side, you have what can receive these data packets. Well, the gateway is the main thing that we use to receive the data packets in the warehouses and the vehicles. Now on the job site, it could be an employee phone that's receiving information or a dry phone. But in any case, we're keeping track of the equipment no matter where it goes. Now, to be clear, if somebody steals the equipment and goes out in the middle of nowhere, we're not going to know it. They don't have cellular on them. So if you go outside of the ecosystem, we'll be able to tell you where it last was when we last saw it, but we won't know in the middle of nowhere exactly where it is. Okay, how we are different. There's a lot to this, and I want to talk through these things. Job site awareness. If you're using DryLINK Jobs, you're going to be actively using Bluetooth to put the equipment in the rooms and the chambers. So the way that's important is if you're using DryLINK Jobs and somebody put some stuff in a crawl space and forgot to pick it up, we know in DryLINK where that equipment is, so we can tell you what specific equipment was left behind and where to go look to find it. We have automation. So this is a really cool thing that we developed where, let's say you're not doing DryLINK Jobs, you just want to do asset tracking. If you turn on our automation, all that has to happen is if a job is created, we just need the name and address, and you can get that through our integrations. What will happen is we'll create a geofence around that job site. And when the truck shows up, we'll see what was left at that job site, and we'll automatically add it to the job site. So we'll automatically add equipment to a job, we'll automatically remove it from a job, and we'll actually automatically close the job when there's no longer equipment on that job. So that's kind of a cool feature we have. We continually monitor the equipment if you're using a dry phone. So with the dry phone, like I said, if somebody took some equipment, we would know within a 15-minute range when that equipment was removed, because the dry phone wouldn't see it anymore. We have what's called sticky technology. So other companies, they'll tell you if they have Bluetooth, that if the vehicle is driving to the warehouse and it's all being read by multiple gateways, that it's going to be a jumbled mess. But don't worry, when you drive off in the morning, it'll all straighten itself out. Well, with our technology, what we do is when the truck drives into the warehouse and now it's being read by the warehouse and the truck, we keep it on the gateway that read it first, and then we won't move it until it's no longer being read by that gateway. So that's how we solve that. Obviously, Phoenix being a major brand, I can tell you that the technology, the whole DryLINK initiative is a huge thing for Phoenix. And we're one of a few major brands in this industry, and we have our weight behind this entire project. And along that same line, we are building equipment, building this technology into our equipment. So, and what that means is our next dehumidifier, when you buy it, you don't even need to buy a tag. You're just going to put AA batteries in it, and that's the way you're going to be able to handle that. So I see somebody has their hand raised. I should have mentioned, if you can put questions in the chat, we don't have the voice enabled for participants, but if you type in the Q&A, and I have Dave from our marketing department who can help me and feed me questions. Either at the end, we'll review them all, or if they're timely, he'll let me know. So we'll make sure to answer all questions. Now, we have beacons with accelerometers. Like I mentioned before, our beacons may be a little bit more in price, but that accelerometer gives you that on-off functionality, which is really a pretty big deal, especially if you're wanting to find out if equipment has been turned off or if you've lost power. Again, for us, DryLINK jobs being included with DryLINK Asset Manager, that's just a unique thing we can offer to our customers. We have the equipment status, and I'm going to show you this in more detail too, but the equipment status is allowing you to know what's available, what's on the job, what's in maintenance right now, and so we can keep track of all that for you. That's an important thing that you might want to know. Again, we have labels, which the idea of labels, and I'm going to show you specifically how that works. But with labels, the idea is you can put one or more labels on equipment to signify where it belongs. And I'll show you what that looks like. I did talk about the semi-trailers. Also, our gateways are battery powered, so that's unique. You can use our gateways. Let's say you just had a storage locker. You could use our gateway in there even if there's no power available to you. You're only going to get readings every 6 hours of scans, but you can do it and the batteries will last for 3 years. Now, the gateway can also be used. Let's say you had like you mobilized for a big event and you wanted to have like a temporary warehouse. You could use our battery powered gateways to do that. We also crowdsource lost equipment. And the way that works is with our equipment, especially with the Bluetooth built into the dehumidifiers, but any of the beacons as well. If your equipment was stolen, you mark it, or lost, or whatever it is, and you mark it, if anybody ever opens our app, or if the equipment ever gets near one of our gateways and it hits our cloud with a new GPS location, we will notify you. So the more people that are using the system, the more that we get that information and can help with that. And within our industry, there's a fair amount of people already using it. So this crowdsourcing idea can help with that. Okay, so job site awareness. I want to talk about how this specifically works because there's two cases. Whoops. There's two cases that can occur. The first case is standalone asset tracking. This is where you either have to enter the job in the web portal, which I'm showing over here. It's pretty simple. We use Google's autocomplete to help you with addresses. So it's just job name and address is all you need. And then we'll create that geofence around the job. You can actually automate the equipment assignment and removal, as I had mentioned, and you can automate closing of the job, as I had mentioned. Now, if you have an integration with one of our integration partners, the jobs can be created automatically. So that's one way. The second way is DryLINK jobs users. So you can use the web portal or the app in both cases to create the job. So you enter the job in DryLINK, you add or remove equipment in DryLINK using our nearby tab, which makes it very easy to add equipment to a job site because we just show, instead of showing you your whole inventory, we show you the Bluetooth equipment that is nearby. You can also close jobs in DryLINK, so it's all pretty much done in the app or the web portal. Now, equipment statuses, I mentioned that before. I just wanted to show you the statuses. They're very similar. The asset manager statuses, we don't show you lost equipment. So we have available, on the job, missing, which just means we haven't scanned it in 7 days. Now you can change that number to whatever days that you would like, and it will remember your setting for you. And then maintenance is another one. But on the equipment list status, so this is like all your inventory. If you click on lost equipment, we will show it to you. But by default, we don't show you lost equipment. That's just if you ever want to check in and see if, if we found any of your lost equipment. And actually, we would notify you. Okay, equipment labels. I will show you this live, but think of it as these are some use cases for this. Identify where equipment belongs. So some examples. If you have multiple warehouses, maybe you want to say this equipment belongs in the Madison warehouse, or this belongs in the Atlanta warehouse. And you could put those on the equipment, and then you can say to the system, show me where all the equipment is that are supposed to be in the Madison warehouse. And then that will show up on the map or in the list. Same thing with vehicles. You could say, hey, all this equipment belongs on semi number 4, or even to an employee. You could say, this equipment belongs to this employee. Now, keep in mind that everything that you're using in the DryLINK Asset Manager system needs to be tagged. If it's not tagged, we're not tracking it. So just keep that in mind, because I have had people ask, hey, I want to add an iPad in there. And I told them, well, I don't think you want to put a dry tag on an iPad. And they said, actually, we don't care if we track it. We just want to put a label on it telling us whose iPad, who's responsible for that iPad. So that was interesting. You can use the label to identify equipment rented out or loaned to others. So think about if you go to a large loss and maybe you share equipment or rent equipment or whatever you do, you could put a label on that equipment that says, rented to XYZ company. And then after the event and a month later, you could look and see, okay, where is all this? Is it back in my system, or is some of it still out? Because if it is, I'm going to contact them and say, hey, I didn't get that back. You can show the actual location in Asset Manager in the map view or table view of these labeled pieces of equipment, and you can filter on a specific label in the list view to see where this equipment is. So that's labels. Okay, here are some of the problems we're solving. Never take a physical inventory again. You really, as long as we keep the batteries changed, and I'll talk about that, we do remind you of when it's time to do that, you should never have to take a physical inventory again. You can reduce equipment not being billed. So this is one we learned recently. So I had it was a customer doing beta testing for us, and there was a discrepancy where they said, hey, in this software, we're showing that we're billing them for 4 air movers, but your system says there's 5 air movers at that job. And so they sent somebody there, and sure enough, there were 5. So they weren't billing for enough air movers. So in that case, they can change their system, bill for 5, and they're actually making more money now that they wouldn't have if they wouldn't have used the system. Obviously, reducing equipment left behind. We're working out how to tell you as quickly as possible to notify drivers when a job is closed to help with that, leaving equipment behind. Reduce lost equipment, that's obvious, and rentals. If you know where your stuff is and you know what's available, maybe you don't need to rent as much equipment. We know the location of the vehicles. So this is a thing. It may be, so we give an update every 5 minutes to the position of your vehicles. And maybe you already pay for fleet management. Maybe this is enough and you don't actually need 2 systems to do that. I already talked about locating labeled assets and then how we can find lost equipment for you. Now, I'm going to run over some of the pricing just so people have an idea. Keep in mind, we have different tiers based on the amount of assets, but the first one is pretty generous. 0 to 999 assets, 99 per month. That's our fee to use like the whole system. And then $30 per gateway per month. That's an ongoing fee. There's a lot of data involved with this, and that's for the gateways. Now you get the asset tracking added to the web portal. You get the completely automated fleet management. This is assuming you have an integration. Otherwise, you will have to create a job as a minimum. Advanced inventory list comes along with this. DryLINK jobs is included for free. You know, unlimited jobs, no fee for job, unlimited users. Now, here's your one-time cost. This is what the devices cost. Now, people might say, well, $49 for a tag, that's a lot. There's definitely bulk pricing for tags. And by the way, I do want to mention, Dave from the marketing department has put in the Q&A section a link. If you want to get a specific time set up for your company with somebody from Phoenix, you can click on that link and you'll get a customized, webinar. I mean, it's just going to be basically a Zoom call where you can ask any question you want directly to them, and they can get you further along in the process if you're interested. But they can also quote you based on the quantity of tags you need. We can definitely give discounts to this. Same thing with the DryTag RH. Here's how much the gateway costs and the semi kit. Okay, now I'm going to show you a few things that are coming soon. I wish this screen, I'm not exactly an artist here, so it would look much better than this, but I just want to give you the idea here. The concept here is managed by exception. And the thing is, we know so much about the job, and how can we surface that for the contractors so that you can know what's going on your job sites and take action. Now, what it's showing here, I didn't have enough room, but this is supposed to all be in one row, even these down here, but this is just giving you some ideas of what's coming. You would have the jobs in one on all the rows, but in the columns, if you're using, equipment recommendations such as ICRC or the E3, we can tell you, here's the minimum pints you should have. Here's what you actually have. Here's what's needed. Same thing with air movers, air scrubbers. And then on the readings, do you have any missed readings? Maybe you have DHUs less than 5 grains per pound. Some people want to know that for certain insurance carriers. Am I not making progress in my chamber? Is the temperature out of the range, or the RH? Do we have high grains outside where we should have more dehumidification? With moisture content, all points are dry, or we have points that are not progressing, or we missed readings. Connections, do we have equipment that was turned off or out of range? Other things, is the job taking too long? Does any of the equipment have an error? We can report errors from equipment so you know what's happening. Do we have no equipment on the job? Why is that? Do we have equipment left at the job? Missing equipment, this has to do with Asset Manager. Do we have equipment sitting at locations that aren't jobs? So there's all this stuff that we can tell you, and that's coming soon and managed by exceptions. And then multi-location companies, obviously, I think you get the idea here. There'd be one master DryLINK company with branch locations where you could view all of this stuff. And that's all hopefully coming by the end of this year. Now I'm going to take the time to quickly do a live demo, and then we're going to open it up for the Q&A. So I'm going to switch to the live demo. And So this company has given us permission to show you this is real information. So you can see they have 59 jobs here. So this is what our web portal looks like. So we have the jobs tab, an equipment tab, and obviously I'm going to go to the asset manager tabs. That's what we're talking about. So I go to asset manager, and right now what we have selected is we want to see equipment in our warehouses, and we want to see warehouses and vehicles, and we only want to see available equipment. So this would be like if a new call is coming in. So that's 974 assets. And hopefully you can see up here, they have 1,438 assets in total. 16 of those are not tagged, but of the ones that are available and in the warehouse and the vehicles is 974. So what you can do, if you see this equipment button here, it means that there's equipment here. Like this V16 ProMaster, it actually doesn't have any equipment on it right now. But if I click on this V12, oh, I apologize, bad demo. Let me go back. I didn't mean to click on that. I should have clicked here. And this will show me what's on the V12. It just gives me a quick summary. So what I have here is I have 4 dehumidifiers, 9 air movers, and 1 air scrubber. So that's what we have here. And I do want to backtrack. I'm sorry, I jumped the gun a little bit. Let me go back to the equipment tab here. I was going to walk through that with you. So this is kind of the expanded view of what you get on your equipment tab when you have Asset Manager. And there's a lot of columns here, and I'm actually going to show you there's a scroll bar here. There's actually more columns. And I want to show you that although that might seem like a lot, we have this nice manage columns feature. And what we can do here is we can turn things on or off if we don't want to see them. And we can actually drag and drop things and move them wherever we want. And when we get the view just how we want and hit apply, it'll update the system and remember your settings. So you can look through all the things. You can see, you know, we have serial number. I mean, there's a lot of things in here that we have for you to set your view. Then you'll see we have this export to CSV. So I can filter in any way I want. Right now, I just have tagged equipment selected. You can see it's 422. And if I hit export to CSV, it sends it to Excel for me. And here it all is, and I can manipulate it however I want to. So that's the export. You can search. So like if I start typing 0200, you can see that now I'm down to 7. There's 7 assets that match that. And you can search in any one of these fields here. So I'm going to take that search off. You can see under this that right now I have tagged selected, but if I wanted to see like, what do I have that doesn't have a tag? So I have some DryMaxes I need to put some tags on. So that's another thing you can do in the system. It shows the status, which was real nice. You've got available, inactive, on the job. You have all these different things, and it gives you a nice little indicator here of what it is. You can look at any piece of equipment and click on this little icon, and it's going to show you its location on a map, which is handy. And then I do want to show you this manage label and assign equipment idea. So if I go over here, I'll just take 2 pieces of equipment. You can see that, well, I'll do the manage labels first. So I can go to manage labels. So you can see I can add labels or remove labels. Now, if I go here, I just have a test label. So I could click the test label. Now, if I hit save, if I click off of here and hit save, it's going to add test as a label to it. Now, you can add more than 1 label and you can put whatever you want there, but that's how that works. You can also assign equipment to a job here. You can see here's the 2 I've selected, and here's what it would look like. I can pick my date and time to assign the equipment, select the job I want in the chamber and room, and hit assign. There's the same functionality for battery change-in and also for in and out of service. Here's those same 2 pieces of equipment. I can move them to maintenance so they don't show up as available. There's also a lost that I could select if I just don't know what happened to the piece of equipment. Okay, so that was the demo I wanted to give on the equipment page. I'm going to go back to Asset Manager. So that equipment tab I showed you was an expanded view that you get when you have DryLINK Asset Manager. Okay, so yeah, so here we're back to the map view, and I'll start by just showing here's the 1 warehouse. Here's the equipment in it. I'll add in the vehicles. add in the jobs. And by the way, the jobs on this screen, what they're showing you, I'll put on the job. They're showing you the jobs that still have equipment on them. In other words, if I go to jobs and I go to available, you would say, why would you have available equipment on a job? That's a great question. And really, it's probably stuff, if you look, this is all recent scans. So for some reason or another, they still have some equipment here, even though they've closed the job. Jobs and available is a good screen to look at if you're trying to figure out, like, hey, do we know what's going on here? Do we know we have 2 air movers here, or should we send somebody over here? And if we wanted to send somebody over here, we could add in our vehicles and say, hey, this guy's the closest, let's send him over there. So that's how the map view can be used. And this is just what it looks like. And when you're using it, if you click here somewhere on the tab, but not on the actual vehicle or on the equipment tab, that's how you get the summary. So this 53-foot trailer has 50 air movers on it. And so I want to show you that what happens if I click on this view details. This gets me into what we call the table view. The table view gives you all the Xactimate categories and all the locations, and it sums it all up. So we've got, again, it was that 984 pieces of equipment. Here they are, and here they are by location and by Xactimate category. And you can add custom columns here. Let's say you've got extension ladders and they cost a lot of money and you want to track them. You can add that too. So you can add any kind of columns you want. Let's see. Then just to give you a little bit of an overview here, I'll go into the settings. I just show you quickly. When you go set up your team, this is what it'll look like. This is all their team members. You can make them technicians, administrators, or an owner. And if I go to gateways and locations, this is how you set up a gateway. So for a warehouse, you have to tell the system where is your warehouse. Then once you do that, here's warehouse, they call it warehouse 2. The location of that, and the warehouse name is home office. And then here's all the trucks. So they registered all the gateways on here. And here it's telling you the last read time of all this stuff. So it's giving you that information. When you see a one like this, it means it doesn't have the most recent GPS readings. That can happen if you pull your truck into your warehouse, but you can go on any one of these and click on it and see where the vehicle is. We give you that functionality. That's what the settings looks like. And actually, I'm going to switch over to this one and go in and just show you, settings. And this is how you set up labels. You can add them in here. Just add the name of whatever label you want in here. Okay, and with that, I'm going to switch back to the presentation mode. I'm going to open it up for questions and comments. I'm going to have Dave from our marketing department join me and read off the questions, and I will answer them. And in the meantime, I'm going to leave this slide up. This shows my information. I'm Erin Hynum. Keith Hossley, he's the DryLINK sales manager. Here's his information. And also remember, Dave is put in the Q&A section. He's put that link if you really want to get further information from our sales team on any of this. So Dave, do we have any questions? And I'm certainly happy to help out and answer those.
We do. We just have a few here. So the first question is, does data from the system, namely asset tracking, export to Excel or some other format that can be uploaded into accounting software?
Well, I think you saw, let me go back. I will show that. So you can export to CSV, so that would be Excel, any of the data that's in this equipment view here. So all these fields that I showed you on manage column, you can export any and all of that for all your equipment, and you can import that and do whatever you want there. Also, if I go to Asset Manager on the table view, you'll see that, there is export to CSV, and it'll actually give you a table just like this. So that is the way that you can export information. I'm not sure if there's other information you're hoping to export, but that's what you can do today. By the way, we do have a link to a template for importing equipment as well. And so if you go down the path with Asset Manager, if you give us a list, and we highly recommend it, of all your equipment, we will import it for you into DryLINK. Hope that answered that question. Dave, any other questions here?
Yes, this next one, this is an easy one. Will this session that is being recorded be sent to the registered users? Yes, we will send that out right as this is finished. So you should see that either today or tomorrow. It will take a little
while to process the video. I've done this plenty of times, so we'll send it out, but it takes a few hours to process.
So yeah, look for it either later today or early tomorrow. Next question, what are some common issues that you hear about, and what are the fixes for those common issues?
I would say that what we've run into so far is that the setup is important. So so we have a whole document that you can download from our website that tells you step by step how to get set up. And just to be fair, there's some work required to get this set up. It's an awesome system, but you have to tag everything. You have to give us the list of all your equipment. We have to import it. You got to get your gateways installed. The gateways need to be hooked up to the switched power on a vehicle. So I guess that a common problem that we saw early on was just making sure that we follow step by step a setup procedure. Second thing I would say is changing batteries. The batteries last for 2 years. We're going to tell you in 18 months to change them, because if the battery goes dead, it's just going to look like a lost piece of equipment. So I would say that the way to solve that, we're going to remind you to change the batteries, and I would, heed that reminder. Any other questions, Dave?
That's all we have at the moment, unless anyone wants to type one.
Oh, I see. So that was okay. Gotcha. Okay. Any other?
Oh, looks like we got one more here.
Okay.
With the app, do you have to have the app open to track when people leave jobs?
So when people leave a job, if you want to do remote monitoring, you have to use the DryPhone. And the way the DryPhone is set up is it only has our app. It's running Verizon cell service, and you can't do anything else on the phone. It just runs our app. So you plug in the phone, you make sure it's on, and our app will be up, and that's how it streams data. Any other questions that I could answer?
What is the price for the DryPhone?
That's a great question. The DryPhone, the phone itself is $250, and it's a Samsung A20, but we include 1 year of data, and that's $129. So the whole thing is $379. You get the phone and 1 year of data. Now, at the end of 1 year, we're going to just send you an invoice for another year of data. If you don't want to use it anymore, just don't pay it. And if you do, pay it, and you'll get another year of data. Okay, any more questions?
That's all I have at the moment, unless anyone else wants to type one out.
All right, well,
I just got another one here.
Okay.
If you just re-rent the equipment in a semi-trailer with no power, then what would I need to track?
Okay. So I didn't do a good job of explaining. There's two ways to handle a semi-trailer. One is get it wired to power, because you probably need power for lights and things. Another thing you can do is there's a button. There's like a push button to activate the gateway. So you can, even if because if it's running under battery power, it only updates every 6 hours. But if you need a current scan, there's a push button. You just push it, and it takes a few minutes to do the scan. But that's how you handle that. So you can run it on battery, but it's always best if you can get it hooked to power. And it comes with a 110 volt adapter, so you can, if you can get 110 power. It also comes with 12 volt, so you can do that too. Additional questions here, Dave?
Yeah, we have a couple more here. Can you show the price list slide one more time or send the list out?
Yeah, we'll do both actually. So let me go back here. Here's what the pricing information looks like. And by the way, we have this, all this information is on our website, including the additional, like if you have 1,000 to 5,000 assets, it's $199 a month. And so we have all that information on our website, but this covers 80% of the companies or more. So this is the current pricing information. And like I say, don't be too scared off by the dry tag pricing. There's definitely, if you buy one, it's $49, but most people don't buy one. So, okay, additional questions?
Yes. Can the DryLINK be used on Wi-Fi if cell service is not available?
Yes. You can take the dry phone and get it onto Wi-Fi just like you would any phone. It's a Samsung A20. You just got to get it on Wi-Fi like you normally would, and you can use it that way.
Great.
Same thing with your employees' phones. If they're on Wi-Fi, it works the same as cellular.
All right, another question. If you have neither a technician nor a dry phone at a job site, can assets still be tracked at the home office?
Yeah, you'll see them. You just won't have a recent scan. So if equipment was dropped off at a job site, it just won't have a recent scan, but it'll show at the job site. So yes, you can track it. What you lose visibility of is if somebody removes it, we're not going to know about it unless there's something there to know that it was, so that's where the dry phone comes in handy, is if somebody removed it and nothing was there to scan it. You would eventually pick that up through our system, but it's better if you have, it's great if you have a dry phone there.
All right, next question. Tell me who again we need to talk to about getting this set up.
So Dave has a link. Maybe Dave, you can throw that in there one more time.
Sure.
It's just a form. It's just like a form to get to have a salesperson contact you and set up a private meeting with your company to discuss it. So that you can do.
So yeah, if you guys click on that website that I just put in the chat, if you scroll all the way to the bottom, that is where Erin was just referring to. You can set up a demo and have someone from our team reach out. All right, next question. So if we aren't going to wire our semi-trailer with power, then all we need are gateways. We have all the dry tags already. I saw you have semi kits on the list, but I don't remember if you explained what that is and if we need it as well.
That's a great question. So the semi kit, yes, in order to read to make sure 100% that we can read a semi trailer full of equipment, we highly recommend the semi kit. Without it, we can't guarantee 100% we're going to read everything. So really the kit is 2 additional Bluetooth antennas and the cable to install them. It's really not that hard to add the semi kit, and it definitely should be done.
All right, the DryMax XL has a Bluetooth option already. Do we still need a dry tag? Will it eventually be added to the equipment itself?
Yeah, that's a great one. So today, to do asset tracking, you need to put a tag even on DryMax XL, but you would just put the dry tag, not the dry tag RH, because you already have temp and RH. But both DryMax BLE and DryMax XL still need that today. We're rectifying that at the end of this year. You're going to see a new dehumidifier. It's going to be built in where you just add batteries to the board. So you don't even need a beacon. But for right now, you need a beacon on everything for asset tracking. We do build it into the AirMax. We call it AirMax BLE. So you can order that if you're wanting to plan ahead, if you're thinking about doing this.
All right, it looks like that was the last question. Let me know if everyone, you can see the link at the chat now. It should be in there. That has a little bit more information. It's our video about asset tracking, and then also at the bottom of the page is the demo that you can sign up.
Okay, well, if there's no more questions, I want to really thank everybody for taking the time to listen to the webinar. And you can reach out to me directly if you have any questions, but otherwise, our sales team can get in contact with you if you're interested. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. Have a good rest of your day.